Did they really? Full. Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of Coming in Clutch Sports Edition on the Eric B. Media for all you sports heads. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This podcast and our Coming in Clutch is being brought to you by the great folks at Troy City Mortgage and their partners over at Walsh Title and Closing, working together to bring you the best home buying experience. What a tag team they are. Troy City Mortgage, the best place to get a mortgage in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, led by the great David Pereira. The team at Troy City Mortgage have local roots, deep knowledge, and expert solutions to get you the best mortgage possible. Give them a call at 508-207-5864. That's 508-207-5864. And the Walsh Title and Closing, the tag team, they can be located at 508-858-5725. Again, that is 508-858-5725. Colby, what's going on? Good evening.
Another week, baby. Another week.
Another week. It is still light outside.
It's a little different being here.
It feels like 2 in the afternoon.
It does. It
Is
really
what
does.
it feels like. So that means that summer's coming around. Hopefully, spring at least, at the very least. We're here. It's a Black Monday. I think. I think for me, it's a Black Monday.
Feels like it.
It does feel like it's doom and gloom night for me. The sun is shining, and I have a cloud over my head. So there must be a football god that hates Nelson Cabral. So thank you very much, football gods, for raining on my parade. You suck. So let's get that out of the way. So I hope you had a great weekend. We got a chance to hang out a little bit this weekend.
Good times.
It was a good time, right?
Until everything exploded yesterday with all the news and everything going on.
Yes, it did. And as always, folks, we start with our opening events. And the opening events, Colby, are being brought to you by who?
Core Nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
located at 25 Market Street in Swansea, Mass. Same spiel every week. That's my breakfast of choice every morning. Amazing shakes. Obviously, summertime's coming up, so if you're looking to shed some pounds, head on down to Core Nutrition and go see Anna and the gang, and they'll definitely take care of you.
Wonderful place, Cope. And obviously, Titletown Trucking, truckload of champions for all those truck needs. Give them a call for Titletown Trucking. So we're going to get right into it, folks. As always, we start with our opening fence, and I'm going first. Even if I wasn't going first, I have to go first. So my opening vent is going to start right away with the Revolution, who have played 3 games, and they're already really annoying me, and I got to put my boot up their ass. So, so here's the deal. They have played 3 games, and I have not been excited on what I've seen. They had a tie over, out in the West. Everyone was goo goo gaga over them. Then they finally had their first win. And then they had a miserable week, a miserable game on Saturday where the weather was absolutely a disaster. But they were up 2-0 with the ham and eggers, which basically is the substitutes that they put in specifically in the back line with a very questionable, shaky goalie. So they don't want to put their starters in because, Colby, they're playing the Pumas, not Pumas that you will hear, but the Pumas for their CONCACAF, which is a very important, tournament, and they won convincingly. They had a great game.
Yes.
You have to finish that game off. You're up 2-0. Torrential, kind of a crappy weather, and it's very late, kind of relatively late in the second half. Not very late, but relatively late. And I could just see things leaking back there. Bad shape as far as their back line. Not really engaged in what was going on to be able to set up their plays, not getting possession, losing the ball in dangerous spots. They had a couple of chances that they didn't capitalize on. And Josie Altidore got a great banger that he really put in. And the first 2 goals that they let up for Real Salt Lake, oh my goodness, what 2 softies. I think Skidmark might have been in the net. And I don't know who was defending back there. It was a disaster. So they put in the young kids back there. So Delagar's not that young, but Delagar doesn't really play. They didn't have Kessler because he's hurt. So they put Jonathan Well. And then they wound up having the new kid, Spalding, who is obviously a young guy up and coming. And here's what upsets me. Bruce Arena is supposed to be a genius in the soccer world. You had the lead. I know you're trying to conserve players. For those of you who are not aware of the soccer world, soccer has this tremendous tenacity and tendency of conserving players when they have big games up and coming.
Yeah, but has he always been like that?
I'm not.
He doesn't seem like a coach that does
not
that.
Not really, and that's what upsets me. So they had to lead 2-0, 65th minute, maybe something like that. Just put in your starters now. You got 30 minutes to close the deal.
I know.
You're expecting too much. The guys from the bench have done their job up until that point. Bo didn't play. I don't think you need anybody up front. You put Josie in. Get and solidify the back line. I'm not liking what I saw there. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. You know, with respect to the MLS, it's kind of like there's a little bit of that hangover. We were really good last year. You know, we'll come back around and we'll do what we have to do.
Well, that's how it was in the game of the night. It just seemed like they were up 2-0.
Just
game's over.
Yeah, game's over.
We have this game.
Salt Lake's not a really respectable team. So they better come up playing guns blazing this week, and they better win convincingly because their stars are very well rested. So I hope they got their cookies and crumples in. I hope they got their Oreo cookies in. I hope they got their massages, their cold baths, their hot baths, their salt baths, their everything, because you better be ready to go. Because what you gave me as a fan sitting there on a Saturday night at your house, by the way, thank you very much for letting me do that. I know it's not really a big soccer house, and I see that debacle happening. What stopped me from throwing things at the TV is because it wasn't my TV. So with that being said, I'm really angry at the team right now. And in that respect of that game is a game that you're giving up 3 points, 3 precious points that you need in that league. I know it's early, but that can't happen. And I know what they're trying to do, and I didn't like it. So I am not happy with that. I am not really happy with that performance. I think Bruce needs to start realizing things. And I hate when he puts his hands up against a thing and just kind of sits there and gives a face. Yep, it's your team, dude. You got to fix it.
You're right.
So not happy with that. And what's going on with the team. I think the team needs to find a little bit of their identity a little bit. They've added a couple of pieces. The goalie situation is a problem. Matt Turner has a bum ankle. He hasn't really been playing, and I'm telling you right now, he probably won't play much anyway because of that Arsenal contract.
Correct.
So there's already a problem with that. Matt Turner goes to show you how great of a goalie he is and how it's imperative in that sport. So that is all for the soccer talk. I'm heated. I'm ready to go. Colby, it's all yours.
So my opening vent, as my colleague tries to come down a notch over here, it's brought to you by DJ Classic. Obviously, for all your parties that are going to be coming up for the spring, summer, book DJ Classic at bookdjclassic@yahoo.com. So I know this is a family-friendly show. This might be the only family-friendly show here.
Possible.
But what I like to do is give the big middle finger to the MLB today, but I won't because there's probably kids watching.
We tried to.
But as you know, the lockout finally ended. Okay, and all I kept hearing was that as soon as it's over, players are going to be flying left and right, trades, signings, you name it. Okay, and guess what? There wasn't much action.
Nothing.
Okay?
Zero.
This was the MLB's chance to regain themselves. Okay,
exactly.
There was nothing going on. Okay, nothing at all to overtake them, and instead they didn't do shit. Okay, and then guess what? Today is NFL free agency.
Tampering.
Yep. And guess what? The NFL took the main stage again, and there's MLB just keep falling down. And I just don't understand how they just can't figure it out, how they won't figure it out, how they just don't want to figure it out, I guess you can say. But, all I kept hearing for the however many days, 100 and something days that they were locked out, there's going to be so many players moving. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be one of the best hot stoves, in history.
Yep.
No, it's definitely a cold stove.
It's funny because when I heard about it, you want to know what came into my head? It's like when you have like that really bad stand-up comic and it's like his first time and he says a funny joke and you get one guy that goes like,
it's kind of how it feels like.
Hooray! Congratulations, MLB, for unscrewing yourself and getting your head out of your keister and your foot point of contact because you have had the opportunity to really change yourself, change your image, change your persona, get folks back involved in the sport, get seats involved in with the team, get seats inside the stadium, and you have this window of opportunity to begin making moves and doing things, and then you would have the
spotlight,
and then you let the big boy, the jolly green giant come in with the NFL and now you have no chance. I think if Mike Trout would have get traded tomorrow to the Cleveland
Probably
Indians,
wouldn't hear about
it wouldn't even hear. Like it wouldn't even make it would make a story for about 10 seconds because you know what they care about? The 7th round pick because the NFL is that popular.
And just to kind of go off of this, Heim Bloom, you better do something, okay? Because if you think your Boston Red Sox are going to do what they did last year, which they overachieved, that's not happening.
Right. I
okay?
don't think so.
That's
either.
not happening.
I don't think so either.
So you got plenty of money. You know, this is the Boston Red Sox.
And they're not doing anything.
Go out there and do something.
They
okay?
just don't want to do anything.
It's so annoying. It's so like, and honestly, I don't even care. Like, oh, we can't move. Listen, move Bogarts to second base, sign Carlos Correa, sign Trevor Story, one of these big name players, get them in Boston because you need it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, again, what was shoved down our throats for all these months? Oh, Suzuki. Oh, the Red Sox are going to get him. They're the front runners. Guess what? You lost out on him today.
Yep.
He went to San Diego.
He's right.
So I don't know. I just don't know.
Yep.
And
the tax went up. The cap went
up.
Went up 20 million. So it's at what 240 or something
like that. But
it's an absurd amount of money.
At the end of the day, it's the Red Sox. They have all the listen, and that's why I'm so pissed is because you want to go buy the freaking Pittsburgh Penguins, but you don't want to invest in your own friggin' team.
Exactly. The Pittsburgh Penguin phenomenon continues to be looming around that team, and I don't like it.
So I'm not gonna support them until they do something.
I got you. I understand. I'm in that same boat. I don't like the fact of them lingering around and like trying to be like a small or medium to small market team in a big market, city. That doesn't make any sense, folks. 508-974-3040 is our number. 508-974-3040 is a number. Call in. There's a lot of things going on in the sports world. We have obviously the Tom Brady talk. We have which is really, 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 really grinding my gears. A little Family Guy right there. And you got obviously the tampering, free agency, a lot of moves that are happening. What do you think? With all that stuff going on, and we'll talk about that. Obviously, March Madness right around the corner. So Celtics, of course. A little bit of Bruins talking as well. So a little bit of everything here, folks. As you know, your viewing and your ability to call in makes the show and the podcast move forward and go in the right direction and makes it more exciting. So we're definitely excited to have everyone on, and it's a great day. Hopefully, you're listening and chiming in because there's a lot to talk about. And of course, how can I not begin with the disastrous story to me of Mr. Thomas Brady coming back? So I will tell you how that went down last night as I'm fixing my mic. So here's what happens. Yesterday I do the good deed and I go to church. And I go to church, and I'm doing the King's business, as I like to say. I go in with the family,
paying homage to Jesus Christ himself.
Well, that's right, and I'm all in a good mood. I come out, I'm feeling about as holy as I'm going to get. Really, it's all about as holy as you're going to get. And I come out, and my phone lost charge, which I thought was kind of odd. So I decide to take Nancy's phone. And I grab her phone, and as soon as I grab her phone, Yahoo has letters of like 57 fonts, it seems, and it's plastered all over, and it says, Tom Brady returning from retirement. I literally thought I was in a nightmare. I felt like I fell in a well, and I couldn't get out. I felt like I stopped breathing, and my heart, I think, stopped. I think I stopped. I think I needed to get resuscitated.
I'm actually surprised you didn't blow up that church. Church didn't blow up.
And I was like, no, it can't be. How can it be?
I thought it was fake at first.
I'm like, fake news, please, fake news, please, fake news. So, of course, I don't say much on the ride back. And I got a million things going through my head. And the first thing that comes to my head is Brett Favre. You know why?
Because Brett Favre did this
because these New England fans who are now going to be stroking Thomas Brady were not doing the same when Brett Favre decided he was going to retire, come out of retirement. He wanted to go to Minnesota, then they didn't let him go to Minnesota. So then he goes to the Jets, and then he gets out of the Jets, and then he waits purposely. Then April, he goes to the Minnesota Vikings, and he gets really what he wants. And everyone was so talking about, especially that 2 to 6 show that you all listen to. I know you do. The Sports Hub, and how Felger is such an he's an anti-Brett Favre guy. And they're sitting there, and they're racking on Brett Favre, as did I. And here we have Tom Brady, 41 days or whatever it was later.
That's it, retirement, 41 days.
41 days later. And And the first thing I thought about was everyone's going to jump on that bandwagon. It's either one or two ways. You're either going to love the situation or you're like me and like, oh no. And I got home, and the first thing I do, I turn on the NFL Network. And I'm hoping.
So you really tried to like.
And I'm really hoping what I'm going to see is Super Bowl 23 on. Something stupid. No, I don't. What I see is Scott Pioli, Maurice Jones-Drew,
and JD.
Yep. And they're sitting there, and it shows Tom Brady coming back for the 23rd season. And what I've come to my realization is that Tom Brady continues to be the guy that I think he is, which is he's kind of a fraud, kind of a phony when it comes to these types of things.
Listen, and people know we preach that on here. Me and you have been pretty spot on. Oh, no, I don't want to say spot on, but we've been eye to eye with how we feel about
Brady. And you say, well, why are you so upset that he's back? Nelson, you talk about how things are good for business. Well, from a business perspective, I guess Tom Brady being back would be good for business, except I have a personal vendetta towards the guy and how things came up unraveled here. And I know people want to say, well, if you just paid him, he would have stayed. I don't think that's really the case. I think if you would have stayed, I think it would have been a situation, I've said it a million times, it would have been a situation where you would have been a little bit more competitive, but you probably wouldn't have won a Super Bowl. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think the roster from 2020 and 2021 were good enough. So what I've come to realize, Colby, is that Tom Brady has this image that I think he wants to be a family guy, a family man. And what I really think you have is a couple that have power egos up the yin yang.
I wish I could hit a fraud on our button right now.
And I want to tell you, I don't know why this didn't sit well with me, but him being out in Old Trafford and watching the Manchester United game on Saturday night or Friday, whatever it was, and there's that photo that went all over the world with Cristiano Ronaldo and Tom Brady talking, it just did not sit well with me.
Do you know why he was over there?
I heard some different things.
Because the owner, Glazer, the owner of Tampa Bay, owns Manchester United.
Okay.
So he was over there to have a meeting with the Glazers.
Really frustrating to me. And if there's anybody that could also influence Tom Brady, would be Cristiano Ronaldo, because Ronaldo is in a similar boat, back nine of his career. And of course, Ronaldo, Nelson, I'm a Ronaldo fan. But Ronaldo, you really should have sucked that game because you have been a disaster for Manchester United. By the way, I'm a fan of Manchester United, my favorite EPL team. And they have been a disaster. He's been a disaster. And he decides that he wants to be the old Ronaldo and score 3 bangers and get a hat trick. And Tom Brady's sitting there. And Ronaldo speaks Portuguese. And Giselle is Brazilian and Portuguese is their main language. Of course. So with their conversations, perhaps. And I saw something that had a video of him doing this motion, Ronaldo, which is probably talking about football and quarterback play. Now, do I think Tom Brady may have had his decision already made? Perhaps. But if he was in question, I think that visit and talking to the Glazers and talking to Ronaldo and maybe discussing things may have been the last piece that he needed, because now Sunday, all of a sudden, here comes the fact that he's coming back with an LFG at the end.
So my opinion of him kind of was validated once this came out, okay? Because people want to say that Belichick pushed him out and the Patriots didn't want him and all you had to do was pay the guy, blah, 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 right? So it's become evident that Tom Brady needs to have power, okay?
And
so clearly he didn't like Belichick having power and control.
Not after 20 years, right?
Over everything. Yep. But yet here's this guy now who's pretty much trying to be like Bill Belichick and have the power and be in control of everything.
I think so too.
All right.
Yep.
So you can't have your cake and eat it. All right. So you wanted to leave the Patriots because you wanted to have all this control on everything that goes on there. But then now you are retiring from football because Tampa wasn't giving you what you wanted.
Right. And there was this other weird thing about, he said something like he's been with the family a couple of weeks ago. I've been with the family for 5 weeks. It was almost like, yeah, I tried the family thing and it stinks.
I don't know how to be in the family.
Yeah, right, I've never done it.
All I do is play football.
Right.
I've never taken my kids anywhere or done anything.
When he said something like that, it was referring to like okay, it's like he's done it for 5 weeks. It's good enough. It's like that part-time parent, whether it's a mom or dad, I'm not going to go into specifics.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
A part-time parent who wants to be a parent when they feel like being a parent, and then when they want to go to their main agenda, they go to their main agenda. And the way he said, I don't know if he was talking to Eric Gray, I don't know who it was, but there was something that out there that the way he sounded, and I heard that again a little bit today, it really sounded like he was like, yeah, 5 weeks. It's like he's counting down. Like, isn't 5 weeks kind of like an odd number? Like you would say, like the last month, the last few weeks. He was so specific, which means he knows exactly how long he's been spending time with the family. And it's almost like, I've had enough. I've done your deed. I'm not ready to do it. He's not ready to do it.
No, but it's all an excuse. And I never want to hear the family excuse again after this, because that's what he used. Okay. But
again, and fine, you want to be that way. Then don't sell me a bag of goods. That's you're selling me a grocery bag that's empty.
No, you're 100% right. All right. But so that's what he used as his excuse for retiring. But it's because he wasn't getting what he wanted from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right.
So he retired.
I'll show you,
thinking he was going to have leverage. Okay. Yep. And guess what? At the end of the day, that's why I think he went out to the game yesterday, because I think he was trying to get traded. Everyone knows there were rumors about him wanting to go to San Francisco. There were rumors about,
the Miami Dolphins.
About the Miami Dolphins. And unlike Bob Kraft, who did everything for Tom Brady that people forget, he literally did everything Tom Brady asked of him. The Glazers said, no, we're not trading you. So guess what? Brady had no choice to come back.
Right.
Because you weren't really retiring. You used that as a ploy to try to get what you wanted. And guess what? It didn't work out.
Right. There you have it, folks. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll do a little bit more talk with Brady in his coming back. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you ecstatic? Are you dusting off your jersey? Are you burning it like me? So stay tuned. We'll come back. We'll take a quick break, and we'll see you on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to Comin and Klutch Sports Podcast Edition on Monday night, 6:30 to 7:30 on the Eric B Media platform. So in case you missed our opening segment, we had our opening vents. I ranted and raved about, in a negative way, of course, on the Revs. And Colby went a little bit into the MLB and their window of opportunity to be able to discuss matters after they had come up with a settlement, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And of course, we started right into our biggest story of the weekend, which was Tom Brady coming back out of retirement after 40 days. So yeah, Cope, I know we had talked a little bit about it, but for those who may have missed it, I'm not happy about it. I think it just shows a little bit about what Tom Brady wants: the spotlight, wants the power. And I think you hit it spot on, with the fact of, the trip over to England, to Manchester, talking to Ronaldo, talk to the Glazers. There were just a lot of things that just made it sound like he didn't get what he wanted. And I think when it came, it's funny because it almost feels like the same way it did when he left New England. There wasn't a lot of suitors, and the last suitor that was available was Tampa Bay. And once again, Tampa Bay became the only suitor again because they weren't going to allow him to get out.
Yeah, and people are going to continue to be blind because he's Brady and he was here, for 20 years, and that's fine. That's their own opinion, and they can feel a certain way. But if you can't see by now how much Brady has changed and how much of a, even if you want to say it's selfish, I think he's kind of selfish in a way.
Yeah.
So, I know it's not going to be a popular opinion, but that's just how I feel. He's just kind of he needs to have everything he wants when he wants it.
Yeah. Yep. Obviously, Brady had put out that tweet, and he's talking about how the last 2 months he realized that his place was still on the field and, he not in the stands and, the time will come, but it wasn't now. Such a different situation. He loves the teammates now. He loves the support.
Of course.
He loves the family, the family, and without them, more of this is possible. And he's coming back for a 23rd season because Tampa has unfinished business. The tweet came out last night, probably about, about exactly 24 hours ago. It came out. So it just goes to show once again that, I think Brady just realized that deep down, everyone thought it was a surprise that he was leaving and that he was retiring. I was surprised, but pleasantly surprised. And the thing is, I finished watching him in the arena. We discussed this a couple weeks ago. He says two things in there that kind of were confusing to me. That's why it sounded like it was very confusing overall, him making the decision. Number one, players don't typically leave when they're playing as solid as he was playing last year.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a good year last year.
Guy had a great year. MVP, folks. And we're not going to sit there and be blind. He didn't suck.
Yeah,
he was good. He was very, very good. And then we had a situation where he mentions that as long as he's playing at a high level, he's going to keep playing. So the retirement was confusing to me. But then he also says on Man the Arena that typically when he makes a decision, he sticks with it. So that is contrary to.
But isn't Man in the Arena kind of like a waste now? Think about it.
Yeah.
All that money spent on recording.
It is.
Because supposedly the last episode was supposed to be his retirement.
It was, and it still hasn't come out. We're still waiting for that 10th episode.
Well, you have to wait a year.
I guess so. And now Adam Schefter, I think prematurely putting that thing out, I think that created a situation. I think Adam Schefter and Tom Brady get along because of their history here. And maybe Tom Brady didn't want to blow up his spot and not lack the credibility. I don't know. I mean, Tom Brady kind of tends to care for the people. Tom Brady cares for different people and certain people.
There was something that happened, though. Something happened between him and Tampa Bay. Yeah. It's obvious.
Yeah.
It's more obvious today than it was at the time.
It was. And I think a combination of between the Adam Schefter premature and then him waiting a couple of days and then retiring to kind of confirm his thing. I don't think he was ready for retirement. I think the whole situation, he just realized that he still has a lot left in the tank, which it looked like he did. Because even though he fell short this year, he had a very good year. So that is our talk there, folks. We have other things we want to get to. And we're going to go right into the free agency, the exciting time of the NFL, which is free agency. So the New England Patriots have done quasi or nothing. Very, very little.
No, they signed Slater today.
They did sign Slater.
They signed Devin McCourty.
And they brought back Hoyer. God forbid we don't have a Brian Hoyer in our lives.
Let's get those duck boats ready, baby.
Let's get them going. And Brian Hoyer is going to, once again, I tell you what, nobody knows the playbook better than Brian Hoyer. I think he knows the playbook better than.
Listen, I actually like that signing because think about it. You lost McDaniels. You lost a bunch of these offensive guys that he brought with him.
I think.
He's going to be the offensive coordinator. Brian Hoyer, baby.
It's exactly what I was
Don't sleep on that, all right?
He should just be the offensive coordinator.
He should. He really should.
Because, look, there's a lot of questions about the Patriots. Let me tell you something. I am not crazy about what the Patriots have done with the coaching. And, like, there's loopholes and questions there and empty spots there. Offensive coordinator, who is it? Who's a quarterback guy? Who's a defensive coordinator? All these things. There's a lot of questions. Some folks I know are upset about them not spending the money. There's players that have now left the board that they maybe could have gone after. And J.C. Jackson's no longer here.
Yep.
So now J.C. Jackson goes on and he's going to the Chargers. The Chargers have definitely made a lot of contact with wanting to get their team better.
Correct.
And I think the money that he went for, as far as the guaranteed money for 5 years, that's $8 million a year. He had a 5-year, $82 million this a contract with 40 guaranteed,
40 million guaranteed.
So
only half of it guaranteed.
Only right, exactly. Everything else probably incentive based. So either the Patriots didn't listen. If you guys saw that the Pats are going to sign him, I never thought that. I think him putting out the fact that I think putting out the fact that I guess they may not want me, that they may not respect me, or they may not feel like I'm worth the money. That none of that stuff falls in the Bill Belichick tree.
No, and the one thing, like I said, I did like J.C. Jackson, so I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but the one thing I didn't like about him was how he was always boasting on social media how great he was. I mean, he changed his social media name on Instagram to Mr. INT.
He did.
I mean,
and look, and he had a skill set of getting turnovers, which is kind of what the defense has become.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen him here. And even at $8 million, I thought $8 million
they could have done it.
It's a very, very good number.
It just goes and shows you that they didn't want him. They didn't. At the end of the day, they just didn't want him.
Yeah, and that's what it comes. And when the Pats don't want somebody,
it's that simple.
They're not going to pay him. So don't be surprised. However, I don't know what the Patriot fans want. I'm a little confused. Last year, it was a 50-50 situation. Some were excited the fact that they had spent over $100 million on free agencies, and the other half felt that is not how you build a team.
Correct.
So they were upset. So now this year, they're doing what appears to be the exact opposite. Folks, if you think they're going to be spending $100 million every year, you're wrong. That is not how the NFL works. Don't get me wrong. That NFL salary cap is a joke.
It's crap.
It's not worth anything. You can tear apart contracts.
That's the only thing Felga says. That's right.
Yeah, I will say that.
The cap is crap.
It is. It really is. But I mean, to spend that kind of money again this year after they did it last year, I don't understand what the fan base really wants there. You want them to spend money again? They did it last year, and this year they probably were going to kind of hold tight, and maybe they're going to go through the draft. And I know the draft's been a question mark, but maybe they're going to hit on something. What I know is that if they're not going to hit on anything and they're not going to spend money, then I don't think they're going to be a great team.
Yeah, but even
a
that,
very good team.
Okay, Belichick's drafts, I would say within the past couple of years, they haven't been great. But think about it. 20 years, he's had some pretty good players come out of the he's drafted some pretty good players. And Bill never gets credit for that. They just want to trash him for the likes of Justin Warhouser or Cyrus Jones. You know what I mean? Listen, for every four players that for every good four players that you draft, there's always one or two that aren't going to turn out.
I think the biggest thing, Cole, is that with the draft has been they have never hit on a receiver other than Deion Branch. And I think that cloud on that position has really almost bled over to the other drafts that they have picked, because that wide receiver position besides quarterback is such a sexy position that most teams tend to hit. You think about
because of fantasy. Think about it. It's all because of fantasy.
Oh, yeah. In fantasy,
if fantasy wasn't a thing, we probably really wouldn't be concentrating too much on wide receivers.
Right. But because of the fantasy world, and if you look at most of the teams, even the Jets have hit on a receiver.
Of course.
Seattle has hit on receivers. Arizona's hit on receivers. Houston hit on receivers. Pittsburgh has always hit on receivers.
Pittsburgh's like a friggin' wide receiver.
Yeah. But now they have Mr. Trubisky, which now brings me into the loveliness of what's going on. If you think that the New England Patriots are not going to be great, how about Mr. Trubisky and the all-time hardcore Pittsburgh Steelers? That guy is going to poop his pants every Sunday. That is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they took a shot on him.
That guy is soft as baby poop.
Listen,
I tell you, I don't think he's very good. I think he lacks a lot of skill sets. And I think they could have had a chance to maybe try, go with Mason. Or
I was going to say,
the draft.
I was going to say, so you rather sign Trubisky? Why not take if you're going to take a chance on Trubisky, why not use what you have in house? You have Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins. Take it you know what I'm saying? You have two guys in house that you could have taken a chance on.
Yeah,
that you didn't have to pay any extra money to.
Exactly.
And you go and get this guy.
Yeah, I just felt how about Teddy Bridgewater? Teddy Bridgewater.
So he signed somewhere today. He's someone's backup. I forgot who he signed. Miami.
So I don't know. I would have. Just Mr. Trubisky. Every time I see him, I see that mustache. I can't take that guy serious. I just can't. And he came from UNC.
Well, he's a changed man, because you do realize he backed up the best quarterback in Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, he definitely did, which I think is going to have a regressive. He's going to regress this year. I think Josh Allen will have a regression.
Yes, because they lost
Brian Daboll.
Yeah, Daboll pretty much controlled that.
So here's what the Patriots have done so far. They brought back 1 year Devin McCourty, who's been a good soldier the whole time, $9 million. They brought back, of course, Mr. Slater, Mr. Orange
Seasonal
Juice,
allergies.
yeah, Mr. I am a genius, and and nectar, how the sweet nectar of victory. All right, so he's back for like I don't know 2 cents. It's like $2 million. Cheap money. So they haven't done much, and I would like to see them do some other pieces. Like they were involved in talks about Anderson. Obviously now there's a lot of talks about where is Robinson going to go. Allen Robinson.
I mean, it's
the receiver.
Think about it. He hasn't signed anywhere yet.
He hasn't.
Not that I know of. I haven't seen anything come up on my phone.
There's been talks about Juju Smith-Schuster, DJ Chark.
I mean, I don't think Juju wants to stay in Pittsburgh after that
I would not
signing
want to.
today.
I would not want to. So I do want to see
Jarvis Landry's out there too.
Jarvis Landry's out there. I just don't know if they're players that they're going to get. Probably not. I'm going to tell you, they're probably not. It's not really in their MO to do. They did it last year, and I think they want to see what unravels out of there. Jacoby Myers now has that tender for a second-round pick.
No one's going to sign him.
No one's going to sign him, right? That's not going to happen. If it did, I would do it in a heartbeat. If I get a second-round pick for Jacoby Myers, that's great value that you're getting
right.
back.
That's what I'm
Tremendous
saying.
value.
But nobody's going to do it.
And even like Berrios, he re-signed with the Jets. I don't think you could do anything with him. I think he was a restricted free agent.
He was unrestricted.
He was unrestricted.
I believe he was unrestricted.
So I think he meant for short money. I thought $4 million a year would have done it to get that guy here. He's a pretty good slot guy. He kick returns, but they want Gunnar Olszewski, and that's the guy they have.
Yeah, but Gunnar, I mean. I'm kind of good with him. He didn't. I mean, listen. I need a kick returner. Someone's going to get us yards.
Yeah, I just want to see somebody else in the slot.
You can go out there and catch the ball and kneel down and get the ball to 25.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of how I felt he was doing last year.
So 508-974-3040. Tampering period is here. Official free agency stuff is going to begin. Obviously, a big moves. Khalil Mack going to the Chargers. The Chargers are going all in, folks. And I still don't believe really in the Chargers. I think their offense was really good. Their defense was a sieve last year, and they're making moves. So J.C. Jackson going there, obviously Khalil Mack going there. They added a couple of other pieces as well. So that defense should improve. But I remember a year that Philadelphia tried to do a lot of things when, with Awesome Wow, and Awesome Wow, and Asante Samuel,
yes, yep.
And that never went anywhere too. So again, if we're going to be criticizing the Patriots for spending money on free agency to get the offense going, then I guess you could say that maybe the Chargers might be, everyone said they're throwing their chips in, good for them. Well, that's fine, but a lot of people didn't think that last year when the Pats went all in. The Pats were the most involved team and spent the most money. So I really don't understand, what the character is around here, around with New England and the family.
You know what it is? They just people expect to get the sexy names, or they want the sexy names. But it's never been reality around.
No, it hasn't.
Think about it. They won 6 times.
So you know what you need what are your top 3 things, folks? I mean, what do you think the top 3 positions are, the top 3 needs that the Patriots need? I can tell you mine, and then Colby can tell you his. To me, certainly more than ever now, a corner secondary is definitely a need. Number 2, I want to stay on that same side of the ball, linebacker. I do think it is necessary, specifically inside linebacker. I don't think Dante Hightower is coming back.
I mean, I'd like to see somebody opposite of obviously Judon. I just want to see those 2 guys, like just someone that can complement him, and it's just great pass rush. You're going to need that now because you just lost J.C. Jackson, so you're going to have to pressure the quarterback.
Right, and are you going to? Do you feel okay, folks? You New England fans, you feel okay with having Jonathan Jones and having Miles? Miles is it
Miles Bryant?
Miles Bryant. And then they had the other guy, Josh Mills.
Jalen Mills.
Jalen Mills. Right.
I mean, Mills didn't play bad.
Yeah, he didn't play bad.
But he wasn't the number one either.
So I mean, do I want to see? I love to see that kid from from Florida State. Maybe he lands in the second round.
I mean, like I said, sneakily, I kind of think they're still sniffing. I know they traded him last year, but why not bring Gilmore in? You don't have to pay him the big bucks that he commanded before. And if you draft somebody early, he can be the guy to kind of show him the ropes.
Well, and I'm not crazy with with him coming back, but I am crazy with him coming back for the right dollar amount.
Yeah.
And maybe he kind of
he's not going to get paid, man. He got hurt last year.
He did, and I don't think Carolina wants him. So, what do you want to see? I want to see a linebacker, particularly in the middle. That Mike linebacker. I'd love to see a corner take care of business as well back there and solidify that, which is important. And solidify that spot in getting on the number 1 receiver.
I mean, I want to see a number one receiver, obviously, but they must see something in Jonnu Smith that they think he's going to turn a corner next year.
Well, I want to tell you, I would say receiver is so obvious, but really, I want to see somebody on the offensive line.
Yeah,
Trent Brown did not wow me last year, and the offensive line.
Well, he was hurt too,
but he got paid a lot of money. I think let's look at a little bit about last year, 365 days ago, a year ago. Let's talk about these players top to bottom. We're gonna go with the good ones. Kendrick Bourne, hit or miss?
Hit.
Matt Judon.
Of course, hit.
Hunter Henry.
Hit.
Then we go into the ones that I question a little bit. Gotcha.
He flashed a little bit, but I would say for the money,
right now,
probably not a hit.
I miss. Jonnu Smith.
He's a miss, but I still think there's some upside there.
He is a miss times 50 right now.
He better do something this year.
Right. Trent Brown.
Miss.
See where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
There's a lopsided situation here with the amount of players that they brought in. So I am not telling you I'm ready to throw in Nelson Aguilar. How can I forget?
Yeah, miss
right now. So this is a concern I think that the fan base is saying, listen, that the players that you brought in were not so productive. But we needed them to be. So now the natural tendency as a fan is go spend more and fix these problems.
Yeah, but Marcus
goes back to the impatience.
Marcus Scantling. I know the Patriots were talking to him today.
MVS.
But if you see some of the reports, he's looking for like $13 million, $14 million on the market. So at the end of the day, you can say Aguilar was a kind of a bust, but I think I'd still take Aguilar over him.
Me too.
You know what I mean? For the money.
Yeah. What do you got for your top three? What do you think they need? I mean, we're coming up.
I definitely want to see a receiver because I think obviously the more help Matt gets, the better he's going to be.
An outside guy, a slot guy. What do you think?
I would say a slot guy.
I agree. I think
a slot guy. I know they used Myers kind of as that guy last year, but I think he's too big.
I don't think it works there.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Number two,
definitely a corner.
Now, right, secondary.
You definitely need a corner, and I would say number three is the toss-up between someone consistent on the offensive line, and obviously, they got to replace Van Noy, which should be easy. I mean, in age, he wasn't the same player this year. I get it; people liked him. He's a fan favorite, but fan favorites aren't winning games.
No, they're not. They're not. So, folks, we have a couple of days. The free agency starts officially, I think, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So the tampering period, we are in the thick of it. So again, the big moves: Khalil Mack to the Chargers, J.C. Jackson to the Chargers. Allen Robinson is still out there.
Well, one guy that not a lot of people are talking about
with the Jets,
Cedric Wilson from the Dallas Cowboys. Do you remember him last year when he played against us? He wore number 1. Dude, that kid flashed as a receiver. He's young. That's someone that they can go and get, and they don't have to break the bank.
How about Amari Cooper? How did you feel about Amari Cooper going to Cleveland?
I kept hearing rumors the Pats are in, but clearly they weren't.
And I want to tell you, that was cheap. Talk about pennies on the dollar for that guy. So you know what that tells me? It's gonna and they signed Gallup immediately, and Gallup got paid. It's the Gallup and the CeeDee Lamb. It's gonna be the Lamb and Gallup show.
But see, what I don't understand is why. All right, if you're Cleveland, okay, Baker Mayfield clearly needs all the help he can get. Okay, why would you get rid of Jarvis Landry? Why wouldn't you have Landry and Cooper on that team?
Yeah, I don't.
Some of the things that people want to trash the Pats, which is fine. But there's a lot. There's a lot of other teams that do some stupid shit, man.
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys. Boom. Correct. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Cooper. Yeah. I don't mind Cooper.
Exactly.
Cooper once again pays in the dollar. So it's happening. You're in the thick of it. Hopefully, we have more results. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to hit some hoop talk and bring it to the finish line for this another edition of Comin in Klutch. We'll see you. Welcome back, folks. We are back at our last final segment here. Coming in Klutch every Monday night, 6:30 to 7:30. On our call is 508-974-3040. If you hate us and you want to rebuke what we're saying, please call in. We'd love to take your calls. And if you agree, call in and it will just make us feel better than what we already do now. So either way, you win. A quick shout out to my boy Steve Mello, Steve the Realtor, the Portuguese Realtor, the one and only, the great one. Thanks for chiming in, Steve. Hopefully you're enjoying our show. A lot to talk about. We could probably be here all night talking about just Tom Brady and the free agency and how much baseball stinks, with what they're doing. But we do have some moments here. You got, several minutes here left, but we want to go into our last leg of the show tonight and go into in some hoop talk.
Yes, sir.
So with hoop talk, we know that the big homage was done to the big KG, the big ticket. On it was last night.
Last night.
But
again, Brady had to steal the show.
Of course he does. He had to steal the show, of course. So I watched some of the game quite a bit. It was nice to see what they were doing there with KG. I thought they had the game under hands. I thought they had it going for a little while. They had a decent lead. They were playing the same hoop that they had been playing, and then something just.
They went back to their old ways.
Yep, they went back to a little bit to their old ways, and what I didn't like is that the minute they target Tatum and they double team him, which is what they did, can I please have the other Jaylen Brown, get more than 14?
He couldn't hit it. He couldn't hit crap yesterday.
Wow, was he way off?
I mean, yeah.
Peyton Pritchard wasn't hitting anything.
Nobody was hitting anything. I mean, yeah, you could say Brown's dunk was awesome. Probably one of the better dunks that we've seen in a while. But
I guess, yeah.
That's only 2 points. Only 2 points.
It is. And the shots that Peyton Pritchard missed, down the stretch there, it would have been nice to maybe listen. I'm not a big fan of the guy, but Grant Williams has been hitting those.
Grant Williams should have been at the end, I think.
I think so too.
And I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm sure you're shocked for me to even hear that because we mean you both feel the same way about Grant Williams.
Oh yeah, me too.
He's kind of been money from 3-point.
He really has. He's been a little bit of a poor man Eddie House.
I think he's shooting over 43 or 44%.
Yeah, he's really throwing them down, and hitting it really nice, behind the arc and hitting them with high efficiency. Tatum missed a shot in the fourth quarter. And there's that little piece of Tatum that just annoys me.
Well, he was way off. He was forcing shots yesterday, and it's like, listen, man, if you don't have it, it's okay.
Yeah,
that's why it's a team game.
Listen, Luka Doncic is a great player.
Isn't me? Did he? That's like, listen, I love Luka, but just watching him yesterday, he's kind of like a bud. Like he's a big boy.
He is.
He's kind of out of shape.
I've always thought that. The guy just looks like
he just crawled out of bed.
As some guy that just goes plays basketball on like Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon in a pickup game. But the guy balls.
Dude, he can shoot.
Yeah, I mean,
just imagine if he was in shape.
I know. I don't think he really takes care of himself, but I don't think they really care about that because they figure, well, you know what, he's
still averaging 20-something a game.
He really is. It was a game that I thought they should have won. And it's a game that, listen, I'm not going to go crazy and trash the Celtics. They're 4 games back.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really trash them. They've been playing pretty good basketball.
Yeah, they're 4 games back. They're 2.5 games from that top 3 seed.
They're at Golden State on Wednesday night, though.
I know. So the West Coast begins.
Yeah.
And it would have been. It's one of those games. Remember that game before the All-Star break? That Orlando game. Was it Orlando? No. The Pistons. The Pistons game.
Yeah, Detroit.
It was the Detroit game. It was a game that they really didn't.
They didn't care about the game. They were ready to all leave.
So now you look at this, right? It's a loss in Detroit. Yesterday you had the lead. You lost by 3, which is probably one of those 3-pointers get you at least into overtime. And it's those little games throughout the season that will make the difference between you staying a 5 seed or going to a 3 seed and getting an opportunity in the first round of the playoffs to be at home.
Is it kind of sad for me to say that I kind of had a feeling they weren't going to play well yesterday because I feel like whenever there's a jersey retirement ceremony, they don't get up for the game.
It's like a plague.
I heard a stat today. Do you know that the Celtics are 2-6 in jersey retirement celebrations since the 1990s?
So according to my math, that's below 50%. That is not good. That's 30%. 33%. So not exactly their best moment. They don't do well again with those things, with those, big, those pomp of circumstance, type of things. And it showed yesterday. I thought they had a pretty, I thought they had a good commanding lead. and then I watched. They fell short by 3 points.
Yeah.
You got to win that game.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
I win that game. Obviously, the big one is March Madness.
It's about time.
And
favorite time of the year.
It is here to stay. So we're not going to get into the Creighton game against PC. We're going to chalk that off. We watched the game that they played against.
Hey, and people can trash PC. That's fine.
Yeah.
But clearly you haven't watched them all season.
Yep.
Because every good team does slip up and every good team does get blown out. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh, and
they couldn't hit a fucking. Excuse me, they couldn't hit a freaking shot. Man.
Yeah.
They literally, it was ice cold. And Creighton was hitting everything.
Yeah, they were. And we watched them. We watched Creighton when the game that PC won the Big East championship, and that was a great game. And PC deserved to win, which goes to show you the volatility of college hoop. At any given moment, anybody
can win.
Anybody can win. So it seemed like it was two different teams that were playing versus the game we went to go see. The game on Friday it was Friday.
Thursday.
Thursday. The Thursday game. It was a tight game.
Honestly, it was exciting, and it brought
really
me.
was.
I'm like, I can't wait. This is March Madness.
Yeah,
right here.
it really was. It felt very March Madness. They won the streak and let it win. They kind of played a little flat. They didn't shoot well in the free throw, at the line. But they won the. Manaya had big
2 blocks at the end.
2 big time blocks, and there was a 4. Right there. That's an 8-point swing. It goes over. An 8-point swing.
And you got Durham, who couldn't hit anything either.
Yeah,
brick, and all of a sudden, when you needed him to hit that one shot at the end, he
huge
hit
three. Yeah.
Huge three.
So what are you thinking, folks? Are you getting your brackets ready?
What are they now? They're a 4 seed going into the tournament, playing Thursday afternoon at 12 o'clock. In Buffalo.
Yeah,
I wish I could go to it.
South Dakota
State. According to Joe Lenardi, he's the expert here on ESPN, PC should lose this game. So we'll see.
Well, like I said, I think if they would have get into the Sweet 16, that to me would have been a tremendous success. Anything beyond that would obviously be fantastic. But if you get to the top 16, you're right where your ranking said you should be.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they get past these 2 rounds. If they get past, South Dakota State, Iowa is their.
It's either Iowa or Richmond, the winner of Iowa, Richmond. And obviously, clearly, we're PC guys here, but we got to give credit. Bryantson too. Bryantson.
Yeah,
Bryant's playing in the play-in game.
So let's talk a little bit about Bryant, shall we? I don't think we've been on since the fiasco. Was it Murray State?
No.
No. It was who do they play?
Wagner.
Yes.
From Staten Island, baby.
Let me tell you, what a brawl. They had the kid. Was it Kiss?
Peter Kiss.
He's
actually the leading scorer in all of Division I basketball.
It really is tremendous. So it's a brawl. It's fiasco. It felt like 1980s Celtics versus the Pistons.
And I was watching that game live, and all of a sudden, it's funny because you would expect them to all right, we're gonna go to commercial. Nope. Yes, I give ESPN credit for this. They stood right there. Yeah. You could just see them brawling.
Those guys were zooming in, and I guess Peter Kiss was kind of yawking and kind of making gestures, not really being very professional. Every point they were blowing out.
Yeah, but that's that's how he's always been.
Yeah. He's a cocky player. He's a confident player. I don't think he'll get drafted, but maybe he will. Maybe he goes to the G League. I don't know.
Yeah.
But certainly you could see the tensions rising. And look, Bryant is in. And they're in the top 64, 65, whatever it is. They always had that weird number. So Bryant's in. I don't know. I mean, is Kiss gonna go nuts and blow somebody out in the first round? Now they're in the top 32. That'd be a tremendous venture for that team. A team, out of North Smithfield, another local team up the street, basically from Providence College. So, folks, what do you got going on with your brackets? Do you have your brackets? Your brackets ready filled out? Are you still dissecting things? What are you looking at? Do you look at wins, losses? Are you looking at who's going to win the tournament in their respective conferences? Are you looking at the strength of schedule? Are you looking at just, top 25, AP top 25 and go from there? I tend to look at things with a grain of salt because every year there's an upset of the teams of a team just falling short or not executing, or maybe the game got too big. Maybe their sphincters got too tight. I don't know, whatever it is. There's always going to be upsets in March Madness. That's why it's called March Madness, because it really is. It's madness.
I can't wait for Thursday. I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be a heck of a game. So, what's your prediction with PC?
Obviously, I can't. Yeah, I think they're going to win. I mean, they should win the game. I get it. South Dakota State's a good team, but South Dakota State doesn't play in a big conference like the Big East.
No,
I think they play in the Horizon League or the Summit League, which is it's a mid-major conference.
I think if PC brings the attitude that Ed Cooley has provided and enforced on that team this year,
Yes,
their attitude has really gotten them far. That positive team play, everyone buying in, defending, rebound, grinding it out, ugly points, but they're effective, getting those buckets when it matters.
Listen, it's win or go home. So
yeah, all these things into place. And
I hate to say it, them getting blown up by Creighton, I think it might have woke them up. I think they needed that, to be honest with you, because they were kind of, think about it, they got blown out, I believe, by Marquette at the beginning of the season, Big East season. And then after that, they won so many in a row. They flipped the switch. So maybe this is what they needed.
Yeah, and we had talked about, we felt like that break between
they had 9 days off.
That's a lot of time out,
especially in college basketball.
It's too much. So maybe they get into the groove. Maybe they needed that loss to kind of recharge their batteries, reset their strategies, reset their minds going into the March Madness. I think they're going to take it. I think they're going to win the first round. I think their opponent will probably be Iowa, even though I'll be rooting for Richmond. But
Richmond's been, actually, believe it or not, Richmond is from the A10, and Richmond had a hell of a year this year.
Yeah, I looked them up as well. So that's it. I mean, March Madness is here. It's going to be in effect here very, very soon. It's going to start here. I think it's the next couple of days. You got the Celtics still winning games, even though they had a heartbreaker. They're still, 4 games only from taking.
It's crazy. It's crazy, right?
And the Bruins had a good win against a really bad Coyotes team. That team's got major problems down there. And then the Bruins quietly, they got 23 games left. They are
trade deadlines next week, I believe, right?
It is. And Charlie Coyle, annoying as heck, but had a good game.
Weymouth's own, right? Is he from Weymouth?
Oh yeah. So he had a great game, and your top 3 players are producing again. Pass has been your best player, Marchand has been your second best player, and then you got Patrice Bergeron as your third best player. So they're winning games. They're like 3 to 4 points out of like the top 4. And they're 10 points, which is significant. They're 10 points from being at the top of the conference. I'm not going to get to the top of the conference, but they might squeak in and maybe catch, that 5 or 6 seed. So there's 23 games left. A lot of hockey can go, and and a lot of hockey can go really bad with 23 games. So they need to keep playing. They need to keep playing pretty well. However, I will say this: I am so sick and tired of them giving up goals inside that 1 minute.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, though.
And I went back to go look at this. Every time they give up those goals, they have the same 5 players on.
It's all right here.
Bergeron, Marchand, McAvoy, Taylor Hall, and the big lunk, Falkberg, something like that. Newsflash! Oh, and Olmark's been in a couple of those too, so you can kind of blame him a little bit. You know what? I'm all set with the big lunk sitting back there and being with McAvoy. If you need a big guy to just club up, go get Chara back. He's available. Get rid of that lunk, because it's the same. When this happens in hockey, you have to look at what are the 5 that are on
you're right.
And it's the same 5 guys.
That's why I'm laughing.
It's the same 5 guys every time.
You're right.
And they give up the cheesy goal, the last minute goal, because they're hanging on for dear life, and they've given up basically the 4 points that I'm telling you that they could have got, the 4 to 6 points that I'm telling you that they could have gotten that would have put them in the top 4, is based on those 5 being out there under a minute. The sphincter is getting tight, and Cassie won't take a timeout. And then the big lunk, Falkberg, I forget his name.
Forward.
Yeah, he annoys me.
Yeah.
You want a big lunk? Go get Chara. He's a big lunk, and he has the most massive stick in the history of the NHL.
He does.
Well, just put him out there for a minute. Can you please not give up the goal when it matters? And Allmark, you're in there. I don't know. Change him up, put in Swayman. I don't care whatever you do. You cannot lose games under a minute.
You're right. You're 100% right, man.
That is a little trend that's going on that's annoying me. It's either a tie or they lose. And then when it's a tie, they go to overtime, and they don't score. Now they're going to go to shootout, and they blow there too. They're not very good. So they won a game against not a great team. And there's going to be a lot of talks around, DeBrusque. So hopefully
We'll see what happens next week.
Yeah, well, 23 games left. Quite a bit of quite a bit of hockey left. So, March Madness we talked about. Hoop we talked about. I think the C's are going to be in it. Obviously, I think the B's are going to get in, but I don't know if they can make a run. So
we just got someone comment here. Matthew Russell.
Go ahead.
He's asking, who would you want out there besides those same 5 guys?
I would like to see players who can basically do a penalty kill. The guys who do penalty kill the best when they're in a disadvantage, and that they can penalty kill and they can defend. And I think Coyle can do that. I think Coyle can be that guy. He tends to defend pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to see Taylor Hall out there. And I don't want
Taylor Hall. It's like he plays when he wants to play.
And I definitely don't want to see Pasternak out there. That's the problem. They don't have other players, but try somebody else. Try defensive-minded players. That fourth line, that maybe the third line has been playing really well. That can solidify and close up those passing lanes.
You're right.
It's just too easy. Here's what I don't want to see. I do not want to see the studs that apparently have been winning you the games because they can't close it out.
Yeah,
they can't close it out. So put in defensive-minded players who tend to have the ability to stop the puck, not give up goals. And be able to burn time and give the starters time.
It's not going to hurt to switch it up, see what happens.
The same thing over and over again.
I mean,
I don't think back and forth is a problem. He can stay on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a problem.
I was going to say, I don't really think it's
I'm not even sure if Martian is a problem, but maybe Bergeron is. And Bergeron is a good two-way player, but it's something's incomplete. I think that one of the two defenders need to change, and I think one of the two forwards need to change. Maybe, and leave in Bergie, leave in Marshy, leave McAvoy in, and change out, Forberg, and change out, I think it's between Pasternak and Taylor Hall,
mm-hmm.
and try to put somebody that's more defensive-minded back there. Maybe Jake DeBrusque can maybe do something at that moment when it matters, a big physical guy. So that's what I got there, Matt. Anybody but those bums that I'm seeing out there at the end of the game could really start to annoy me. So that's all we have time for today, folks. And thanks for chiming in. We'll be back again next week, same time, same station. And, of course, our podcast is being brought to you by the lovely folks at Troy City Mortgage and, of course, their partners in crime over at Walsh Title and Closing, working together to bring you the best home buying experience. Troy City Mortgage, the best place to get a mortgage in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, led by the great Dave Pereira. And the team at Troy City have local roots and deep knowledge. Expert solutions to get you the best mortgage possible. Give them a call, folks. Those rates are creeping up, so they can get you the best rates possible and refinance, get the HELOC, get whatever you need to make your lives better. 508-207-5864. 508-207-5864 is the number for Troy City. And if you're looking to get those titles and closing situations solidified, calling the Walsh Company there at 508-858-5725, and that's 508-858-5725. Folks, that's all we have time for today. Colby, anything else you want to add?
No, just going to plug real fast. The excellent people over at Core Nutrition.
Yep.
Obviously for all your Herbalife needs. 25 Market Street. And again,
Swansea, Massachusetts.
Swansea, Mass. And anyone looking for some entertainment for their parties coming up, DJ Classic. You can book him at bookdjclassic@yahoo.com. There
you have it, folks. So another session down, another podcast down. And, of course, I'm still angry that Tom Brady is back, of course. What would you expect? But we are excited to be back. We're excited to be here next week. So tune in. Don't forget to check out, even if you didn't get a chance to see it live, so take a look, hit those like buttons, check us out on the different platforms, and we'll be back again next week, same time, same station, 6:30 to 7:30 on Mondays in the great Eric B Media platform. That's all I got for tonight. I'm Nelson.
I'm Colby.
And we are out.